So for this problem, to solve for x and y, which one would we solve for first? We'd solve for x because what relationship do the x's have? They're vertical, which means they are congruent. So vertical angles are congruent. So we're going to take an angle and make it equal to an angle. So we'll do 3x plus 20 equals 5x minus 50. We're going to do some quick math here. Subtract 3x on both sides. We're also going to add 50 on both sides. 70 equals 2x. What is 70 divided by 2? 35. So is that the measure of an angle?
No.
It is not. How would I find the measure of an angle? Plug it back in. 3 times 35 plus 20. Believe it ends up being 125. The reason we needed to know this is we need to find angle y. So what do I do to find the measure of angle y? Subtract from 180. So 180 minus 125 is 55. Perfect. So you need to be prepared. If they're across from each other, they are vertical. But if they're next to each other, like these two angles were, what are they? A linear pair, which means they're supplementary. Something else you might see are some diagrams. So number 10, it says planes L and K intersect at PS. So we want to determine whether we can assume the statement. So do they intersect at PS?
Yes.
Yes, they do. 11, this one is harder. O, that's not an O, but you get it. UO and M are coplanar. What does coplanar mean? On the same plane.
No.
What does this dotted line mean?
It means it's going
It means going through, and where is it located?
on the other side.
On the other side, it's behind. So is this portion on plane L?
No.
It is not. So are U, M, and O coplanar?
No.
Still no. M is not on the plane. M is behind the plane. Sorry. All right, the next one, QOP is a right angle. Do we agree?
Yes.
I agree. There's our right angle. So that one is a yes. I know it's harder to see. MQ, this is such a trick question. I don't like it. But MQ is in plane L.
Yes.
It's a no. It's a no. You wouldn't see a question like this. When it says in, essentially it means on, so it'd have to be on it, not going through it. PS and MQ intersect at O.
Yes.
Correct. They intersect at O. All right, one more like this. Planes A and B intersect at EF. Yes, they do. Points C and D are collinear. No. What does collinear mean? On the same line. They're not on a line at all. Then it says HJ and ID are perpendicular. Yes. What does perpendicular mean? Intersect and form 90 and form a right angle, right? So there's your right angle. All right. So yes. What is the symbol for perpendicular?
It's an upside down.
Upside down T. Good. You have to be able to read it. Like on the quiz, it would say HJ. It would say like that. So you would need to know that what it means. GD, which is this segment, is a bisector of EF. What does a bisector mean? Cuts in half. Is EF cut in half?
Yes.
Yes. Because of these tick marks, right? Does it cut it in half at point D? This is a yes. So remember a bisector? We always had these problems on the last test, right? It would say, name the segment bisector. The segment bisector will be line N. Here, it's GD. All right, so it is a bisector. The next one says IH is congruent with HG. Can we assume it? No. What would be there if it was? The little tick marks, but they are not there, so we cannot assume. This last one is harder because we haven't talked about triangles. You won't see it on your quiz, but we can talk about it anyways. H JD is this angle. HDJ is this angle. So you can see where a triangle is kind of highlighted. Can you tell me how many degrees do the angles in a triangle add up to? 180. How many degrees is taken up by my right angle?
90.
So how much is left for the other two angles? 90. We don't know if they're 45, 45. We just know that there's 90 between the two of them. What does complementary mean? They add up and equal 90. So do the remaining angles add up and equal 90?
Yes.
Yes, they have to. Because there's 180 degrees, 90 of it's taken, there's 90 left for these two. Okay, so this one would be a yes. All right, something else you will see, sorry, this is in the way, is on the test, you'll have something worked out and you'll have to write the steps. All right, so what happened in the first step?
Distribute.
They distributed. Is it the distributive property of equality?
No.
No, but it's just the distributive property. All right, and then what did they do? They went from plus 6 minus 5 to 1. What do we call that? We call it combine like terms. All right, what happened in the next step? They subtracted 2 on both sides, right? So subtract, make sure you do not abbreviate to sub. You need to write subtract. It's going to be prop of EQ. All right, and then again, they went from 2x minus 2x to nothing, 5x minus 2x to 3x. That's called combine like terms. The next step, they subtract 4 on both sides, so that is the subtraction property of equality. All right, and then the next step, they combine like terms again to go from 1 minus 3 to negative 3. All right, my next step,
Division property.
the division property. You can write div prop of EQ. And then they came to their answer, but then they flipped their answer. So what is that? Symmetry property, or symmetric, however you want to put it. Symmetry property. It is not of equality, it's just symmetry property. And then they checked their answer. So there are 2 properties actually right here. At the beginning, you had 2 times x plus 3 minus 5 equaled 5x plus 4. All I did was rewrite the original equation. So then instead of x, they plugged in negative 1 because they know x is equal to negative 1. So what property is it when you plug in a number for a letter? It's one of the original 5.
Substitute.
It's called substitution. Substitution, property of equality. I would remember this step if I were you. And then the second step that's shown, it says negative 1 equals negative 1. So which property is that? That's the reflexive property. Questions about a problem like this? Okay. This is the last one we'll do together. It is a harder question. The one on your quiz is simpler. But we have a formula, and it's 1/2 BH, where B is the base and H is the height. This is the area formula for a triangle. We're going to solve the formula for H. So we got A equals 1/2 BH. So what's happening when all of them are written next to each other? They're being multiplied. So a lot of people would want to divide by 1/2. And I'm going to tell you, you do not want to do that because you would have to fix it and simplify it, which takes a minute. So does anybody know the other option to get rid of a half? Yeah, we can multiply both sides by 2. Okay, because 1/2 times 2, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2. What is 2 over 2 reducing to? 1. So 1/2 times 2 cancels out. You'd have 2A equals BH. All right, and then what would I do to finish solving for H? Divide by B. So H equals 2A over B. If you wanted to flip it, What property was that? Symmetric. It did say justify each step, so we can just refresh our memory. What step did I do first? Multiplication. It's not distributing because there's not two terms.
Oh,
This is the multiplication property of equality, and then the second step we did, division property of equality, and then we flipped it around, so that would be the symmetric. So that would be part A. Part B, we're going to find the height. Which of these letters represents the height? H. All right, we're going to find the height of a standard yield sign, which is a triangle, when the area is 558 square inches. Which of these letters represented the area? A. And then each side is 36 inches. So then what is the base? 36. So guess what we do? We plug it in. So we know H, and then we know 2 times our area. You want to type it in. Over our base, which is 36. So what is 2 times 558? Correct. 1,116 over 36, which makes 31. It'd be 31 inches.